Hey guys, and welcome to Found Flicks. Today I'm going to be looking at the massive backlash and controversy that the Ghostbusters reboot has gone through. I feel obligated to talk about it as it has become so big, and certainly taints the movie's release this week. So there are a lot of opinions out there when it comes to the controversy, but I feel like they choose to focus on the wrong things, and in some cases bend reality to fit their case. Midnight's Edge. Excuse me. I hope to expose the truth about everything and do my best to heal the Ghostbusters nation. Join hands, y'all. Unrelated to anything else, the biggest obstacle to this movie being any good is the studio itself, Sony. They're basically the second biggest joke of a studio in Hollywood. Number 1, Lionsgate. I'm sure you'll find another Hunger Games. Don't give up, guys. Sony seems to consistently make poor decisions and dependably make movies that are unremarkable drivel. I mean, recently they were responsible for Pixels, which the new Ghostbusters seems to share a visual palette with, unfortunately, and were able to kill 2 Spider-Man franchises in less than 20 years. Spider-Man, one of the most beloved comic creations, and they blew it twice. So it's really no surprise that the new Ghostbusters we're getting looks like shit, but it stings so much worse because we've been waiting 30 years for another Ghostbusters, and it always seemed like they couldn't crack it, you know, get a good enough script to warrant making. And yet, here we are, finally the finished product from the geniuses at Sony, and it's just a retread of the first film, the exact same blueprint, but with ladies! Nice work, guys. It's like, I still haven't come up with any ideas. What about you? Well, people like the original. How can we trick them into watching it again? But with dazzling new computer graphics effects. Oof, why does a puppet from 1984 look better than that? It's ridiculous. It even uses the same iconic beats from the original as seen in the trailer with the Ecto-1. They try to play it as safe as possible and pull a Force Awakens by sort of remixing elements from the beloved original. But where Force Awakens made it work was by including some of the original cast in semi-major roles to bridge the old and new franchises. But Ghostbusters doesn't have that. In fact, it is entirely its own universe, untied to the original in any way. And shoehorned in cameos by the original crew aren't going to cut it. It's so obvious that Sony has no fucking clue about how to make something that can appeal to younger and older audiences. Oh, and hey, if you don't like the cast, imagine if it were cast with male comedians from the Sony roster. That's right, you're looking at Adam Sandler and Kevin James in there. Those assholes. And would that really be any better than what we got? So see, it could be worse, in a way. After Ghostbusters 2, we've been teased several times over the years by the idea of the next chapter in the Ghostbusters franchise, but nothing ever came to be. Most of this was championed by Dan Aykroyd and followed the passing the torch concept, with the original cast handing over the proton wands to a younger team. With the passing of Harold Ramis, this idea became no longer possible, and so the franchise remained dormant once more, passing over the hands of writers, each trying to bring the franchise into a new era. But in the end, it was finally bestowed upon gross-out female comedy director Paul Feig. In an interview, it was revealed that he initially passed on the project, considering it to be too big, like remaking The Godfather. Then he decided he could basically do his own version, which means, you know, girls being funny. This is already the beginning seeds of what intrinsically is already going to be a disappointment. Feig brought his own mentality to the universe rather than being able to evolve beyond that and create something that has potential to be unique and different. It was upon the first reveal of a Feig-led Ghostbusters film with girls that the backlash first came into being. To some extent, it seemed to be even more of a surprise than anything else. Were we really going to be seeing a new Ghostbusters? And this is what they have to offer. A director with no experience with big budget visual effects films and starring a grab bag of SNL players, and of course his comedy safeguard, Melissa McCarthy. But things really kicked off when the first trailer was released, and the hate began to balloon into seeming like the entire internet wanted the destruction of this movie. And was it because of girls in the movie? No. It's because the trailer was shit, unfunny, and garish to look at, overloaded with CG, and really, what is up with this CG fog in the Times Square sequence? It makes it look so cheap. People were skeptical about the movie, but the trailer proved all of our worst fears true. This was another cheap cash grab of a remake, not even remotely interested in doing anything new with the franchise. That's why the fans are pissed. It's another unnecessary remake, and we're sick of seeing our favorite movies beaten into the ground by clueless studios. But the backlash mutated into something else. Somehow it was no longer about the movie being bad, but that fans were angry about the women. And that's when things took off into a whole nother level of insanity. Our biggest controversy has been this concept that the filmmakers and studio have somehow mounted a counter-campaign to those that dislike the movie, painting them as misogynist. The idea is they believe the hate is coming from the fact that the cast is women, and if we think the movie looks bad, it's because you hate women. But this is complete Horseshit. People think it looks bad because it looks bad, not because of the girl busters. People have expressed disdain towards the cast, but again, it's because with these comedians, it's already clear what kind of movie we're going to get. And that particular style of comedy, i.e. Bridesmaids, etc., doesn't fit at all with the original Ghostbusters. The original is extremely funny, but this is due to the characters being developed enough to mine the comedy from, and excellent ad-libbed one-liners from comedy legend Bill Murray.
It feels so funky.
With these actresses, they were chosen because of their shtick, which is pretty one note. To be fair, I have seen enough comments where people out there are expressing genuine anger towards the girls for being girls. And these people are low-life scum. They do deserve to get shit on by social justice warriors and called out by Paul Feig as assholes, or Melissa McCarthy as losers with no life. But the problem is that the statement came across like a blanket applied to all of fandom rather than the minority who are actually women-hating douchebags. It's kind of like both sides are guilty for the growing controversy. We complained about the movie looking like shit, but Feig and McCarthy seemed to take it personally because of the women angle. They responded maliciously to what they believed to be true, but it's just not accurate. However, accuracy didn't stop the misinformation from spreading, and suddenly the filmmakers are at war with the fans, and there's no turning back once that happens. This is what caused the controversy to spread even more rapidly, as it appears that the people behind the movie are turning against the entirety of fandom out of anger, rather than the very small minority. It supposedly all began when negative comments for the trailer were being removed by Sony, while others that seemed more misogynist were left. And yes, I'm sure they deleted some comments, but even on my own previous Ghostbusters video, most comments that were even remotely bad were pre-flagged before even being published. So I'm saying Sony couldn't possibly control the comments to that extent. To say that creating this misogyny narrative by deleting comments as part of a publicity campaign to save the movie from Sony is absurd. First off, Sony isn't smart enough to pull that off. They can't even protect their own damn emails. They seriously are simply not capable of this grand of a scheme. Another marketing ploy supposedly from Sony comes from Midnight's Edge video. They allege that Sony attempted to course correct the marketing by appealing to male demographics with these moody and noirish character posters, a contrast to the seizure-inducing color palette of the trailer. But these are just teaser character posters, the same that pretty much every movie does nowadays. And they don't even mention the final poster, which has all of the girls front and center with the same stupid blue smoke seen throughout the trailer. And no matter who you are, that shit is not gonna make you want to see the movie. The reality is they chose what information to include to strengthen their arguments, and that's pretty lame. So we know that the movie is going into release with more issues surrounding it, more so than any other this summer. But is it going to join the increasing pile of seemingly unwanted sequels like Through the Looking Glass and Resurgent that is spit out by the public? I don't think it will do that poorly, honestly. One thing Sony has actually done with the marketing is focusing more on appealing to kids and showcasing extremely silly aspects of the movie, especially in the pile of TV spots that have come out. Oh my goodness, my equipment is too powerful. Whoa, boy. I think they have realized it's totally pointless to try to appeal to fans of the original at this point. Like me, we're going to see it because we have to see how bad it really is. They can count on those tickets. Meanwhile, kids are eating this shit up. Younger kids in my family love the trailer and are super excited to see the new one because they don't give a fuck about the original, nor should they. And you know that if kids want to see it, parents get dragged along too, and Sony gets 4 tickets out of you anyway, sucker. It's the only smart thing I've seen from them in relation to the movie. Kids aren't beholden to nostalgia like fans of the original are. I don't think that the movie is going to make that much and will still fizzle out after a week or two. And I definitely think this will be the end of the current iteration of the Ghostbusters. There's already so much damage before the movie has even come out. Not even Sony is stupid enough to try with Feig and Co. again. They're gonna go back to the drawing board. So, okay, it has to be guys. That's why people didn't like the last one, right? Anyone have Sandler's number? Sandler! So I hope that made clear what the reality is about the controversy of the movie. It's all a bunch of bullshit, really. And honestly, everyone is to blame for letting it get to this point. Shame on you, everybody. Oh, me included. Because I got just as caught up in the hate as everyone else. But as hard as it might seem to be to believe, I will be going into viewing it with an open mind and trying to put all the hate to the side. And hey, later this week, we'll see if it was all worth it or not. Probably not. I don't think it will be horrible or anything. It'll just be whatever, another mediocre $150 million waste of time from Hollywood. Make sure to stay tuned for my review coming later this week and see for yourself. Thanks for watching, guys. If you have any further thoughts on the controversy and whether women belong in the kitchen, let me know down in the comments below. Don't forget to enter our giveaway by liking us on Facebook, and make sure to subscribe to Foundflix for all the best in horror entertainment. Oh, and that song, I forgot. The fucking song is horrible. God damn it. It's not, I wouldn't even, it's not even music. I put music in quotes for that song. Jesus.